I never believed my life would become the kind of story people whisper about behind closed doors. You know those stories that start off like a fairy tale and end in slow-motion chaos? Well, mine started with love, real, raw, once-in-a-lifetime love, and ended with a wedding dress I never wanted to wear and a man I never wanted to wake up next to. Let me take you back. His name was Ariv. We met at university, both enrolled in a literature seminar that neither of us really cared about, except that it gave us the perfect excuse to sit side by side twice a week. He had this ridiculous way of quoting poetry without sounding pretentious, like it just rolled off his tongue naturally. He didn't try to impress people, he didn't need to. I was the daughter of a respected conservative family. We were expected to be quiet, polite, obedient, especially us daughters. And even though I followed the rules on the surface, my heart had always been a little wild. Ariv saw that. He didn't try to tame it, he loved it. For 3 years, we built something real. Something sacred. We had our quiet corners on campus, our favorite bookstore, the tea stall where we used to argue over which biscuits were better, Parle-G or Marie. He met my friends, held my hand in the rain, and whispered about our future when no one was listening. But there was one thing he never had the courage to do: meet my parents. And maybe that should have been the warning sign. I still remember the exact day everything changed. It was a Sunday. I was home for a few days during the semester break, and the house was unusually quiet. Too quiet. My mother called me into the living room, her face unreadable. My father was seated, newspaper in hand but not really reading it. "We've found someone for you," she said. Just like that. No hesitation. No build-up. No "how's your heart?" or "are you seeing anyone?" Just a decision already made. I laughed. I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. His name was Samir. MBA from a top school, well settled, from a family with status and wealth. He was the kind of groom families prayed for. "But I'm not ready," I said. My father looked up. "You're of age. And it's time." I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell them about Ariv, about the poems and the bookstore and the way he kissed my forehead like I was something fragile and holy. But I didn't. Because I knew what would happen. My parents were not evil, but they were immovable. Tradition was their God. Respect was their religion. And love? Love was a luxury for fools. Still, I tried. I begged. I told my mother everything. She cried, not for me, but for what the neighbors might say. "You'll forget him," she whispered. But I didn't. I met Ariv one last time. It was raining, because of course it was. We sat on the steps of the old library, the one where he first said he liked me more than literature. I told him about the engagement. The date. The ring. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just sat there. "I should have met them," he said, his voice breaking. I didn't respond. He kissed me on the forehead one last time. And then he walked away. I didn't chase him. I should have. The wedding was everything a society wedding should be: grand, opulent, drowning in marigolds and camera flashes. I looked like a queen. I felt like a prisoner. Samir was kind. Polite. Smart. He smiled too much and touched my hand like it was a transaction. He said all the right things, but he wasn't him. On our wedding night, he looked at me and said, "We can take this slow. I know this wasn't your choice." I nodded. And then I cried myself to sleep while he stayed on his side of the bed. For the next 2 years, I played the part. The wife. The daughter-in-law. The hostess. I cooked, smiled, dressed up, nodded, bowed. Samir never pushed me. He gave me space. He took business trips and didn't question my silences. On paper, we were perfect. In photos, we were glowing. But inside, I was a ghost in my own body. I still thought about Ariv. Every single day. I kept one of his old letters hidden in a book I knew no one would touch. I read it when the world got too loud. It was a bookstore that did it. 2 years into the marriage, I walked into a local bookshop on a whim. And there he was. Ariv. Holding a copy of The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. Our book. He looked older, thinner. But his eyes, God, those eyes hadn't changed. He saw me. He froze. I almost ran. But he smiled. Just a small, quiet smile. "Hi," he said. I nodded. And then I walked out without another word. But something in me cracked open. After that, I started seeing him everywhere. Not literally, just in my head. In the corners of my dreams. In the music I played while cooking. In the stories I told myself when the silence became too heavy. I couldn't take it anymore. One night, Samir came home early. I was curled up on the sofa, Ariv's letter in my hand. He saw it. I froze. He picked it up, read a few lines, and sat down. "I always knew there was someone else," he said softly. My heart stopped. "You don't talk in your sleep. But you breathe differently sometimes. Like your soul is somewhere else." I wanted to disappear. But then he surprised me. "I want you to be happy," he said. "Even if it's not with me." A week later, I found a divorce agreement on the dining table. Samir had signed it. Just like that. No yelling. No tears. No threats. He just let me go. "I deserve someone who wants me," he said. "And you deserve to choose." And for the first time in years, I cried without guilt. I didn't run to Ariv. Not immediately. I took time. To breathe. To unlearn obedience. To become someone again. But eventually, I reached out. I didn't even know if he was still single. Or interested. Or angry. But he showed up. At the same library steps. He didn't ask questions. He just pulled me into a hug that felt like home. It's been a year now. We're not married. We don't need to be, not yet. We live in a tiny apartment with creaky floors and second-hand furniture. We fight about dishes and argue about book placement. But when he holds me, I know what love feels like. Not arranged. Not approved. Not expected. Just chosen. Sometimes I still get invited to weddings of distant cousins. I see the brides, painted, polished, poised. And I wonder if they're living their love story, or just reciting a script. Sometimes my parents call. They don't say it, but I can hear the disappointment in their silence. They think I ruined my life. But the truth? I finally started living it.